Hello. Before I dive into the topic, I'll just warn you that later in the video, I'm going to mention some unpleasant things related to political conflict. My confession is that I'm struggling right now. I'm very, very tired, and I have this overwhelming sense that I've served my purpose, whatever purpose that might be. If you're autistic, you might think I'm describing autistic burnout, and you might be right. I read a tweet this morning which pretty much sums things up. It seems like most things humans need to function are now considered radical. Rest is radical. Not wanting to get sick is radical. Wanting to work less hours and be able to afford a house is radical. Even stating you don't want people to die is radical. This isn't sustainable. It's not sustainable. And yet, I've brought kids into this world. If you've got this far into the video, well done. Your attention span is better than mine. I've been on ADHD meds for a week, and I suppose I'll have to wait a bit longer for them to take effect. Which is quite ironic given how impatient I am because I have ADHD. I keep having all these ideas for songs, but I've got no time to properly develop them. And even if I did, I'd probably never finish any of them because I'm always looking for something new. But at least I'd be free to do what I want. It reminds me of that famous Allen Ginsberg line, "I've seen the best hours of my week destroyed by obedience to capitalism." Things truly started to come off the rails for me back in November. Making videos was meant to be a distraction from the world, but it hasn't quite been enough. 20 years ago, I was horrified by the justifications for the Iraq War, and even more horrified by images of what happened next. Babies deformed by uranium. You'd think that would be the worst thing ever. But in the past few months, people have been working desperately hard to prove that that isn't the case. For example, a few days ago, I saw footage of a man in a hospital holding half a fetus in his hand. I read another quote a few years ago that was something like, "The source of all evil is the belief that some people are more important than others." Well, have a look at this from the BBC. Good news, obviously. But hang on, what does this footnote say? 200 people were killed? Look how much work that word claims is doing. 200 dead, but the BBC wants you to doubt it. And it was a densely populated area, so, it was difficult to avoid killing so many people. And anyway, it was just a raid, and definitely not a massacre. No, I'll tell you what a raid is. A raid is when I've had my dinner, but I'm still hungry and I raid the fridge. Oh, and did the BBC mention that people are also being intentionally starved? If you have any views about what I've just said and feel obliged to share them, please email. If your email is hateful or abusive, it will be deleted. You might believe that I should just chill out a bit. After all, I'm not the one being bombed or shot at or starved. But the point, other than my despair at the reality that thousands of people have been killed and thousands more are suffering, is that we have seen, once and for all, that rules don't matter anymore. Values don't matter anymore. I'm autistic. Rules are important. Rules can make life more ordered and safe. As an autistic person, predictability and order are important for me. Yet, supposedly, I'm someone who's disordered. If I am, it's only because I've been so completely thrown by what has been happening and, shamefully, what is still happening. If we have no values, what are we? We're just animals, surviving for the sake of it. I don't want to survive just for the sake of it. I want us to be truly happy. In a few weeks' time, there will be a new government in the UK. My feelings about this are summed up by this meme. Some say that autistic people don't like change, but I'm desperate for change. A change from an indifferent, cruel, hypocritical world that benefits a sociopathic minority. Just to finish my rant or confession or whatever you want to call it, I'm also sad because one of my heroes will be moving on soon. Thank you for listening and take care.